Good evening and welcome to the council meeting of the town of Newmarket for Monday, April 4th, 2016. All members of council are present and Mayor Van Bynen is presiding.
This is posted and there are no additions or corrections to the agenda, or are there, Mr. Shelton?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do have two items that I wanted to draw to council's attention. The first one is under item 4. The agenda refers to a report dated March the 2nd, and the report number is 2016-11. Due to some revisions within that report, the actual report that was then circulated as an addendum to members of council is dated March 31st, and the report number has been changed to 2016 or 2016-14.
Okay, March.
And then the second item is the draft delegation bylaw that was discussed at Committee of the Whole, the meeting of March 21st. That's going to be considered at the April 25th, 2016 council meeting. And that'll provide staff with sufficient time to acquire the information that council had asked for.
Thank you. So could I have a motion then to adopt those amendments? So moved. Councillor Sponga, Councillor Broom-Plumley, all those in favor? Today is button day. We need to vote in our buttons. And that is carried. Thank you. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Regional Councillor?
Thanks. Yeah, the pecuniary interest on the Committee of the Whole, March 21st. Items 32 through 45 are related to a public hearing on a development proposed on 260 Eagle Street. And I'll be declaring a conflict related to this, as I have for several years now. This property, or a property I own, falls within the notification area and is actually very close to this property, and therefore I will continue to declare conflict. It's 32 through 45 on the Committee of the Whole, March 21st.
Thank you. We'll deal with those separately. Councillor Vague.
Thank you very much. I'd like to declare a conflict also on the very same items for different reasons. Recently, my employer, I'm the executive director of In From the Cold, and my employer hired the same planner that's working on this project to do some research for us. So for that reason, I did not participate in that meeting, and will ask that it be pulled and voted on separately.
Great. So we'll deal with that separately. Okay. With council's indulgence, what I would like to do is to modify the order of our agenda and hear from our deputants first. The deputants this evening will be led by Ms. Nolene Burke, Head of Arts at Pickering College, to address council regarding 102.7 CHOP radio. Ms. Burke?
Yes, thank you. I'm actually going to pass the floor over to Carlos Bianco and Emily, and they're going to do the presentation for me because they're better at it.
Okay, thank you. If we could have them come forward, this meeting is streamed, and therefore we could capture their deputations on the streaming.
Mr. Mayor, councilors, special guests.
95 years ago, December 9th, 1921, marked a milestone in Canadian broadcasting history. In a small room at Pickering College in Newmarket, Ontario, a 21-year-old alumnus named E.S. Ted Rogers sat at his telegraph key, took a deep breath, and tapped out a message in Morse code. He was the only Canadian to successfully compete in this first amateur transatlantic radio competition, transmitting a signal across the Atlantic to Ardrossan, Scotland. In 1925, Rogers revolutionized the radio tube, allowing radios to operate from ordinary household electric current rather than batteries. In 1927, he started radio station CFRB in Toronto, Ontario. His son, Ted Rogers Jr., established Canada's largest communications and media empire, Rogers Communications. Fast forward to 2007 as this heritage carries on.
This is Christopher Sopas signing out on 102.7 Chop FM.
On 102.7 Chop FM.
102.7 Chop FM.
Thanks to the generosity of the Waters family, who owned and operated the radio and television company Chum Limited, Pickering College in Newmarket is now home to Radio 102.7 Chop FM.
So don't go anywhere, because we have more music coming up next on 102.7 Chop FM.
Chop FM is a campus and community radio station licensed for a second 7-year term by the Canadian Radio and Television Commission. Pickering is the only JK to grade 12 school in Canada with a CRTC licensed radio station.
This is 102.7 Chop.
Hi, my name is Elsie. Hi, my name is Mateo.
Pickering College students of all ages take part in Chop FM's broadcast day. Pickering, an independent school, offers a unique and comprehensive radio and audio production course. Over a dozen PC graduates in just the past few years have chosen to pursue radio, broadcasting, or media at a post-secondary level. And there are many young alumni now pursuing careers in broadcasting.
Hey, this is Mara.
And this is Trish.
And you're listening to 102.7 Chop FM.
24 hours a day,
7 days a week.
Chop FM reaches into the Aurora and Newmarket communities and beyond. With remote gear, it allows students to be on the scene at live events, reporting and interview as it happens.
Hey, this is Carlos from Pickering College y están escuchando 102.7 Chop FM.
Chop FM's new and essential role as an emergency broadcasting system provider underscores the station's commitment to the local community.
You're listening to 102.7 Chop FM.
Chop FM offers creative services and provides airtime to promote community activities and not-for-profit messages, as well as supporting local businesses.
This is 102.7 Chop FM from Pickering College.
The Chop broadcast signal covers an area from Green Lane in Newmarket, south to Wellington Street in Aurora, and from Bayview to Bathurst Streets. And you can listen online from around the globe, including the Pickering College website or through the TuneIn app on your mobile device.
This is 102.7 Chop FM.
102.7 Chop FM, the voice of Pickering College.
Mr. Mayor, councilors, special guests, friends, and neighbors. My name is Emily Perkovic, and I'm a grade 12 student at Pickering College.
I'm Thomas Bianco, and I'm in grade 4. We're both big fans of our radio station, 102.7 Chop FM.
We want to tell you more how our radio station benefits the community, as shown in the video. That video is produced by award-winning filmmaker Brian Purdy, who graduated from Pickering College in 1956.
Pickering College is an independent day and boarding school for boys and girls from junior kindergarten to grade 12. We are the only Quaker-based school in Canada. We were founded in 1842 in Westlake, Ontario. We came to Newmarket at the invitation of the Rogers family, and I've been here since 1909. There are many alumni living in and around Newmarket. Pickering College's mission is to be a leader in education and inspire students to be successful global citizens.
We have many unique programs at Pickering College, including the Global Leadership Program. This program inspires students to become agents of courageous, ethical, and positive change, true to Quaker values. We have fabulous creative writing programs, an award-winning filmmaking program, figure skating, equestrian, a high-performance student-athlete program, great academics, terrific school spirit, and of course, the radio station.
Pickering College has a long radio history. In 2007, we were very fortunate to establish 102.7 Chop FM. Thanks to the generosity and ongoing support of Jim Waters, past chairman of Chum Limited, and the Waters family, Chop is the only CRTC licensed radio station in a K-12 school in Canada.
Students are the on-air hosts, producers, and editors. We are content creators. Students in all grades participate in the broadcast operations. We also have a communication technology course in audio and radio production that was developed at Pickering College. You cannot find it anywhere else.
But it's not just the students who are involved. We have an active board of directors, an advisory council, and many dedicated teachers. Recently, we earned the support of Community Radio Fund of Canada. Community members air programs on our station and will feature many special guests.
Students from many grades host morning and drive-home shows, report the news and weather, and share their learning and leadership experiences. We've interviewed many local businesses such as State Farm Canada, and we have produced a series on the people of South Lake Regional Health Center. Local musicians are also featured during Arts Talk hosted by Dave Peters.
CHOP FM teaches young people to achieve and involve citizens. We want to build our listenership and connect with our community. We have recently added the technology to provide an emergency broadcasting system for Newmarket.
Here is our call to action to the members of the Newmarket Town Council. We want you to join us on air at CHOP FM. We want to partner with the town of Newmarket to regularly broadcast the important events and issues in our community. We want you to choose CHOP FM to communicate with constituents. We want you as civic leaders to partner with us to voice your ideas, your events, and your programs on CHOP FM. We also have remote broadcasting equipment so we can come to you. We have worked hard to make CHOP FM a great campus and community radio station, and we welcome you to join us on air.
Please contact our station manager, Gareth Stirrup, to get involved.
CHOP FM is the voice of Pickering College and the voice of Newmarket. I'd like to thank you for listening, and as a reminder, we want you to join us today.
Great. Thank you. Are there any questions from members of council? Councillor Bazans.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you very much. Not so much a question, but I feel a little bit of affinity to CHOP FM because I believe that I was the very first guest to be interviewed when you went on air in 2007 during the provincial election campaign at that time. So I felt very honored to be asked, and it was quite exciting because it was the first on-air interview to be done through the school. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Councillor Kerwin.
The medium of the radio I love. I was raised with the radio because it was the only medium we had at that time. Television had not come along. So, and you mentioned CFRB, and the late Wally Crowder, who just passed away a couple of weeks ago, was just a famous broadcaster on CFRB, and so I used to listen to him, and I eventually ended up teaching a couple of his kids when I went to Thornhill Secondary School. But I love this media, so I shall be up to see you because it's one I can use with my limited ability with social media. So I'm glad to see this, something I can cope with. I can release my pigeons now. So all the best to you.
Thank you. Regional Councillor.
Well, congratulations on a great presentation to council. Very well done, and I think you've got an asset that can be used by the entire town, as you're pointing out. So I think it's something the town needs to embrace more. But I really wanted to, like the others, just share a bit of humor, which is to say that I thought it was excellent how you ended with a call to action of council, very, very strategic, but even more strategic was the call to action was to offer a group of politicians a microphone and a way to broadcast across the town. I suspect you'll get a response. Congratulations.
Great presentation, and the development of the presentation is the same professional standards that I've come to see with Pickering College. We see Pickering College as an important community partner, and this is an excellent step forward in terms of us getting more engaged and allowing Pickering to be more engaged in our community. I see a lot of opportunities here. I think what you're onto is really great. Wish I had things like that when I was young, but I won't tell you how long that was. What you're doing is fabulous, and I extend my congratulations to the board and to Headmaster Stirrup for taking on an exciting project and making Pickering a very special college, which we all know it is. Councillor Sponga?
say, Mr. Mayor, I was going to date you. I think that message that Mr. Ted Rogers sent in Morse code was actually Mayor Van Bynen's name back then. But I'll definitely take advantage of it. I've never had an opportunity to be at CHOP FM. I'll definitely give you a call. There's lots of great events happening downtown. But as the Vice President of the Newmarket Farmers Market, I'd really love to maybe get in touch with you and see if we can have a couple of remotes from the market. I think it would be a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
So you see, the regional councillor is correct. A politician has never seen a mic they didn't like. So thank you for the offer. Thank you for the great presentation. And you make our community proud of what you've accomplished. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to receive the deputation?
So we do have some business cards to pass out.
Great. Councillor Bazans, Councillor Broom-Plumley, all those in favor? Sure. Or if you leave the business cards right there, we'll make sure that every member.
You're not leaving.
No. So our next presentation is a presentation from Stephen Collins and also Angela Gibson. They're going to be reviewing York Region's Transportation Master Plan. I'm aware that the 10-minute limit probably won't be sufficient, so I'll ask for a motion to permit up to 20 minutes.
So moved.
Councillor Kerwin, seconded by Councillor Broom-Plumley. All those in favor? That is carried. The voting buttons. And that is carried. Thank you. Mr. Collins, we'll wait till you get settled.
Start by saying thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of Council. We are in the final throes of a transportation master plan at York Region, and we welcome this opportunity and thank you very much for your time this evening. Ms. Gibson is here tonight with me to assist in the presentation. Yep. And
because we're streamed, we'll pick you up better on the microphone if you have a chair. Okay?
Thank you. Ms. Gibson is here to assist me in delivery of the presentation tonight, and we'll both be here to take and answer all of your questions at the conclusion.
Thank you. So today we're going to be giving you an update of our new transportation master plan and where we are with development of this plan. It's part of a larger initiative that's been undertaken at the region called the Municipal Comprehensive Review, and this includes the Water and Wastewater Master Plan and the Regional Official Plan. And all of these master plans are being developed to also support the creation of our update of our development charges bylaw, which will be before our regional council in June of 2017. Before you today is a copy of my presentation, as well as a workbook that we developed for our regional council that really will help assist our conversation today about the policies that we want to bring forward as part of the Transportation Master Plan. You also have another pamphlet in front of you, which is a smaller pamphlet that is our joint consultation efforts that we've done with the Municipal Comprehensive Review, and kind of highlights the extensive consultation that took place mostly in 2015, and which includes a consultation with the public as well as with First Nations. To begin, the reason behind us looking at our Transportation Master Plan and updating this is to respond to the Provincial Growth Plan Amendment Number 2, which now requires that the region extends its growth forecast to 2041 to 1.8 million people and to 900,000 jobs by that same time period. For the town, this means a population growth of 108,000 people by 2041 and an employment growth to 52,000 jobs in that same time period. This graphic really highlights, it's quite complex and I do appreciate that, it highlights a lot of the milestones that has been undertaken by all 4 initiatives at the region. So this includes in orange the timeline for the Transportation Master Plan. In the purple, it's the Water and Wastewater Master Plan. In green, it's the Regional Official Plan Amendment. And in that gray silver, it's the development charges bylaw update. We plan to go to our regional council in June with the final recommendations of the Transportation Master Plan, and then have a 30-day public review period, and then go back in September with the final endorsement of the plan. And then next year, as I said earlier, we plan to go and have our DC background study endorsed and a new bylaw in place by June 2017. The master plan includes 4 stages, and we began this process in the summer of 2014. And we really involved a lot of consultation with members of our public. Basically, we were asking lots of questions in different ways, whether it's using social media or actually out in many different festivals, and really talking to the members of our public and visitors to the region about really what is happening in York Region, understanding their needs, understanding issues around congestion and accessibility for transit and accessibility for cycling and walking. We then spent a lot of time determining opportunities. Where could we see improvements within our road and transit network? And then we've been spending a lot of time on looking at solutions for tomorrow. And by solutions, we're not just looking at traditional solutions where we're focusing on road capacity, but we're looking at how can we improve the overall quality of life for our residents and our visitors to this region. What can we do to make sure that we are shifting the paradigm from the single occupant vehicle to more sustainable modes of transportation? And that's what we've been spending a lot of time looking at. And now we're in the stage where we're looking at implementation. How can we measure ourselves really well so that we can know how well we're progressing? How can we fund this plan? And so we've been looking at those different alternatives. Just to remind you, you know this, a lot of the statistics on this page already, and this is the current reality that exists within our region. 81% of our trips in the morning rush hour are made by car, and that's a problem that this Transportation Master Plan is attempting to solve. And 96% of the trips that are less than 5 kilometers are also done by car, and that's a really important statistic for us to look at, because that is a good cycling trip that we could be making and using a more sustainable mode of transportation. 13% of the AM rush hour trips are made by public transit, and we want to improve that number. And then less than 4% of the internal trips within York Region are done by using transit, and that's a problem for us, and that's a big part of what we want to do with the Transportation Master Plan, is how can we increase the amount of people traveling within York Region using our transit system. And I know that you've, since the opening of the BRT on Davis Drive, you want to be able to see more people use that facility, and that's what our goal is too. So part of that, in order for us to achieve that goal, what we try to do is look at what are the objectives of this master plan? What can we do to really change and make that shift actually happen? So we've developed 5 objectives that are really steering and lead in the direction of this master plan. The first is to create a world-class transit system. And we think we're already there with our BRT system. We have the Davis Drive BRT system. We have, we're beginning the Yonge Street BRT network, and we have the beginnings of that on Highway 7. But it's not just about developing transit infrastructure. It's about taking the experience differently. So we're doing things and exploring things like Wi-Fi in our stations and our buses, and what can we do so that the whole experience is very different and attractive for our residents to be able to use. Next, we want to develop a road network fit for the future, and that isn't just about expanding the road network or widening our roads. It's about what can we do to embed technology within this infrastructure so that as you're traveling on our roadways, you can anticipate and know if there's travel delays or there's going to be an accident upstream, so you'll be able to respond and change your trip pattern. The next objective is to integrate active transportation in urban areas. And the focus on urban areas is because while we're recognizing that we do need to put cycling infrastructure all over our region, we want to make sure that if you're in an urban growth center such as Newmarket, you can travel door to door using an active mode, that you don't have to worry about a sidewalk not being in place or not having a cycling facility to use. Next, we want to maximize the potential of our employment areas. And this is a really interesting objective because, you know, when you're looking at a transportation master plan, you could be thinking, okay, it's just about focused on infrastructure. What has employment got to do with transportation? Well, it has everything. We know that if we make the right investments, we can leverage what is happening in our employment areas. And the more people we can have here working in York Region, the less of that congestion and that out-commuting that's actually happening today will happen in our future. So we want to focus on goods movement within our region. We want to be able to make sure that we have the right type of infrastructure to our key employment nodes, particularly those nodes that are along our 400 series highways. And the last objective, make the last mile work. We actually stole from a U of T professor. He has a book that says making the last mile, improvements on the last mile. And that is looking at those defaults that we could put in place that can really be transformative and really change travel behavior, really make people want to be able to use sustainable modes of transportation. So here is a diagram that really shows the components of our master plan. At the core are those five of the five objectives that I've just mentioned, and what kind of ties everything together are these major components. What's foundational for us is the good work that we've already put in place with our regional official plan and the growth plan, and our previous work with our 2009 master plan and our 2008 pedestrian and cycling master plan. Next, we're going to develop a number of different strategies, and they range from congestion and mobility plans to what you have here where we say designing great streets. We actually mean that's our context-sensitive solutions approach to the way that we want to design our regional roads, to transportation demand management, to looking at things like goods movement and how technology can improve the way that we do things. We also then want to look at our networks. So transit is an important piece of what we want to be able to explore through this master plan, improving our roads network, active transportation, and for the first time we're actually looking at goods movement. We're looking at what we can do to really identify and prioritize goods movement routes along within our region. And then finally, as I said to you, we are also looking at implementation. What's the funding and the phasing strategy that we need to put in place? How do we communicate better how our progress in the development of the plan over time? So today I'm going to focus mostly on our policy principles. Our council asked to come to you and actually walk through some of the new policy areas that we're developing. And this is where the workbook that's in front of you will actually help, kind of give you more information. I'm going to really take this at a very high level in the interest of time, and then just walk you through what I mean by each of these policy principles, and then highlight a few of the actions and the policies that we are hoping to move forward on. So these policy principles include the final grid network, corridor evolution, parking management, goods movement, and boulevard jurisdiction. Bear in mind, in that previous document where I showed you what the components of the plan, there are many other policies and strategies that we will be taking as part of this master plan. But for the interest of this discussion, we wanted to focus on some of the things that we felt has a direct impact on the way that you do your business. So final grid network. When we looked at the regional road network, it's basically a 2 kilometer by 2 kilometer grid system. It really isn't porous enough for us to really maximize the potential of different routes within the region. So this plan really goes beyond jurisdiction, goes beyond region's jurisdiction, and looks at ways that we can maximize the potential of all of our roadways. So we want to be able to look at ways that we can improve mid-blocks, crossings that are happening within our region. So there's many barriers that we see that have happened, and these barriers, these are collector roads or arterial roads that are prevented from being continuous because there's a major barrier. That barrier could be a water crossing, it could be a rail crossing, it could be a highway. We want to make sure that we can make these roads continuous where it is sustainable for us to do so. And we want to be able to partner with our area municipalities to be able to facilitate those types of crossings. We also want to be able to identify strategic employment areas and where we can have ramp extensions or roads that connect directly from interchanges into these areas, so that we can remove congestion from the arterial road and really maximize the efficiency of these employment areas. And we also want to be able to look at ways that we can restrict turning restrictions from the regional system, so that the regional system can operate the way it should do, which is to have to have mostly regional traffic on it. In terms of actions, that means that we want to partner with your staff in the development of an arterial road classification study, and this is to kind of explore this finer grid system better and be able to identify the roads in which we could be able to have some partnerships on. We want to be able to look at removing some maybe possibly existing turning restrictions, and really putting some parameters in place where we can manage the public expectations around turning restrictions. Most importantly, we want to be able to develop some sort of reserve fund, so that in the future, if you have mid-block crossings that require some sort of partnership funding to be able to make them continuous, that we have the funds to be able to do that. The next area that we'd like to explore is corridor evolution. Currently, we have a great policy in place within our regional official plan that says if we choose to widen our roads from a 4-lane road to a 6-lane road, we can only do so if it's for high occupancy vehicles or for transit-only lanes. And that's a really great policy. But that's a policy that is moving forward. And when we looked at this plan, we had lots of opportunities where we could look at existing roadways that we could make that conversion. But we want to be able to put the thresholds in place to be able to identify when we could do that. So one of the actions out of that is to develop some sort of thresholds that we could identify when we could convert 4 lanes or 6-lane roads into high occupancy vehicle lanes or transit-only lanes. And then we want to be able to develop some sort of long-term traffic management that looks at even looking at technology improvements that we could make to these roadways. The next area is commuter parking management. And I know that you've experienced this with the improvement of the BRT on Davis Drive and at the 404 where we have that commuter parking lot. We want to do more things like this, where we're partnering with our transit system and with other agencies like the Ministry of Transportation and Metrolinx to be able to identify strategic areas where we can have commuter parking lots that can then be used for our transit users to hop on our rapid way systems, or to be used for carpoolers to be able to carpool on our 400 series highways, or in the future to have express buses that could connect to these stations. So we want to be able to explore those types of opportunities. In the goods movement policy, there's a lot of information that we've learned through the Pan Am Games in 2015. One of them was to be able to look at off-peak deliveries for goods movement. And that pilot was done in the City of Toronto and in Peel Region. And we want to use a lot of that information to help us really offset the traffic and congestion on our regional road system. So part of the goods movement strategy is not only identifying a hierarchy of goods movement corridors, but also looking at strategies that we could really remove a lot of during peak travel, the tractor trailers off our roadways. Finally, we're looking at boulevard jurisdiction, and this has been a big one that we've discussed both with your staff and internally at the region. Currently, the jurisdiction within the boulevard, and by boulevard I mean your sidewalks, your off-road cycling provisions, your lighting, those types of amenities are for a regional road, are under your control. And during as we have evolved as a regional municipality, we are seeing the need that we would like to have full control of those amenities, because we really want to support our transit system better. And what we're finding is there is a disconnect between the development of our roadways and the development of our boulevards. And if we have full control of the boulevard, we're able to better coordinate our transit needs with the capital program of our roads program. And so that's what we're presenting in the boulevard jurisdiction. Part of assuming responsibility for the boulevard would be recognizing that the boulevards are going through your communities, and that we would have to change the way in which we design our boulevards to be more context sensitive and recognize that there are differences. So we wouldn't be expecting to develop our boulevard as a one-size-fits-all, but there would be some better design approaches to the way we develop them. So I'd like to be able to show you a video at this time that kind of brings everything together.
York Region is updating its Transportation Master Plan to develop a strategy to better move people and goods over the next 25 years. By 2041, 1.8 million people will call York Region their home. Building complete communities designed to manage congestion and support transit are key principles for our Transportation Master Plan. We want to take a progressive approach to developing this plan by coordinating land use and transportation planning. Our goal is to increase transit, walking and cycling, while better managing traffic congestion by increasing road capacity in York Region. Before we look into the future, let's remember where we were. In 1971, York Region was a rural community with a population of 169,000 people. Over time, we have seen massive growth. We now have 1.2 million people living in York Region. To respond to our growing population, York Region launched its first Transportation Master Plan in 2002. One notable success of the 2002 Master Plan was the beginning of York Region's Viva Rapid Transit System. In 2009, York Region updated its Transportation Master Plan to increase the focus on pedestrians and transit riders. Since 2009, York Region has opened its first rapidway, used technology to improve traffic flow, and accommodated all types of travel in new road projects. So now let's look to the future and see what our next Transportation Master Plan will do. In 25 years, we will need to connect our transportation services to provide residents more travel choices. A connected network will mean the creation of mobility hubs that will encourage car and bike sharing with transit connections. These hubs could be locations that store autonomous or shared vehicles and maybe pickup locations for ride sharing. A connected network will require York Region to partner with all levels of government to ensure we have seamless mobility through carpooling, building high occupancy vehicle lanes and convenient parking that can be improved with technology. Mobile phone apps that match carpoolers or provide the ability to reserve parking spaces at carpool lots will encourage motorists to try carpooling. Community bike share programs, so that students can go to school by using a bike and traveling on transit. Similar to borrowing a book from a library, bike sharing can significantly improve mobility and independence. A convenient bike sharing program that seamlessly works with transit would help to promote and improve quality of life. Better movement of goods, by using real-time technology to help truck drivers avoid congestion and make their deliveries on time. Other freight technology can help reduce the amount of truck traffic by coordinating deliveries more efficiently. Technological improvements, so that commuters can avoid traffic hotspots and traffic can flow better. The collection of data from vehicle navigation systems can be used to coordinate the region's traffic signals to reduce traffic congestion, especially during peak travel times and traffic disruptions, such as construction or collisions. Technology can help reduce traffic jams and improve travel times. The focus of the next Transportation Master Plan will be to move people and goods efficiently through a connected network. York Region's plan is to increase transit, road capacity, as well as walking and cycling options that will provide more choices for people traveling in York Region. To learn more, visit us at york.ca/TMP.
So that video really kind of pulls everything together. It's really interesting because we mentioned the need to look at mobility hubs, and I know that we've already had that conversation with your staff about the Newmarket mobility hub, and we want to be able to use a lot of these ideas about the whole bike sharing, the whole connecting different services together, so that we can really make this give our residents a lot more choice than they've had before. So right now I'm going to just give you an overview of what to expect in terms of the proposed networks for 2041. And we'll just walk quite quickly through it. First, we're going to start with transit, and then we'll look with roads, and then we'll look at the active transportation network, and then finally the goods movement network. So what you're going to see is here at the very bottom of the page are extensions to our subway. So the Spadina subway system extending along Jane to Major Mackenzie. The proposed Yonge subway extension from Finch to Highway 7, and then in the future exploring an extension possibly to Major Mackenzie. What you see here in green, highlighted on the Berry line and on the Stouffville line, is what the province has proposed, which is what we call the Regional Express Rail strategy or program. And that looks at having all-way, two-way GO service along this line, and the eventual electrification of these lines. Next that you see highlighted in orange and yellow is our proposed highway express bus service that could be operated both with York Region Transit or with GO Transit. And you also see in yellow the freeway transit ways on the 407. In this dark blue is what we have as our dedicated bus rapid transit service. So exactly what you have on Davis Drive would be extended along Yonge Street, on Green Lane, on Highway 7, Steeles, and Major Mackenzie. And that would be supported by an extensive, what we call our frequent transit network, which is our bus service really operating at that rapid rate, which is every 15 minutes along major corridors. Because we know, and what we heard really clearly from our existing residents and transit users, is that Viva is great, but it's getting to Viva that's the problem. And so the frequent transit network is really key to making sure that we're feeding that Viva service. And that 15-minute headway is going to be really important for us to be able to support the entire rapid service. And it's not just connections to the Viva, it's also connections to the regional express rail service. That's going to be supported by a backbone of rural connections, or that thin like Burgundy line is those rural connections. And then, as I said, with the parking, commuter parking strategy, that's going to be supported by numerous commuter parking lots that will be able to really feed the bus and the rapid transit system. As for the road network, we'll start with a backbone of expanding our two-lane arterial road system to a four-lane system, and that's what you see in blue. The orange lines that you see along over the 400 series highways are our mid-block crossings, and so what we hope to do is facilitate more of those crossings over the 400 series highways. What you see here in green is an extension of our 6-lane road network that would be supported for high occupancy vehicles, and then for our transit only lanes. And in the red here, we've highlighted what would be our Viva bus rapid transit system. The dots that you see are proposed new interchanges that would be along the 400 series highways. And that would be supported also by our grade separations. And that's really important part of this program because we recognize that we do have to implement a number of grade separations in order to support the regional express rail system. This map, I do apologize, it's really busy, but this really shows a lot of the extensions of the cycling network that we hope to put in place. It will be leveraging, and we've worked really closely with our cycling community to really leverage what is happening at the local level and be able to facilitate those regional travel. So it's really looking at optimizing that greenbelt network that goes east-west. It's looking at optimizing and making the lake-to-lake route happen, as well as really identifying dedicated facilities for cycling. And lastly, we have our strategic goods movement network. In orange, we've highlighted our employment areas that are in and around the region. And while we recognize that every regional road must support all types of modes of transportation, including goods movement, we want to be able to identify the corridors that it will be more comfortable for tractor trailers to use primarily over other corridors. And this is really something, an initiative that our partners, our neighbors in Peel region have made a lot of headway on, and we want to be able to develop this also for our region. So the next steps for the master plan is actually this week, Mr. Collins will be presenting to our committee of the whole and providing them an update on the transportation master plan. In May, we will present the networks that you saw here, but we'll actually phase it. So you'll see what we're doing in 5-year increments over time. In June, we're going to bring the whole plan before our committee, and then we have a 30-day public review period, and we'll have the final plan presented back to our regional council in September. If you want more information, we have a really extensive website, york.ca/TMP, and all of our videos and more information, our consultations. You can find more information about that there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Regional Councillor?
Comment and one question. Just want to thank you for coming here and making this presentation. I have seen a version of it a number of times, and but it is constantly evolving as we receive feedback from different communities and different organizations and individuals, and it's really helpful to see. I congratulate staff on a very forward-looking approach to our transportation master plan, and I've also sat on the Transportation Master Plan task force that's been meeting for about a year, I guess, working on this as well. And I really like the balance we're finding and the emphasis we're placing on active transportation, on transit. So my one question for you, because I ask it every time, is where in the document will I see referenced the ridership growth strategy that I've been advocating for?
So, good question. Yep. The ridership growth strategy is one of the strategies that is being brought forward, and it is going to be included in our Creating a World-Class Transit System or World-Class Transit Service section. Okay. It will be specifically called out as a deliverable or a strategy to be developed as an immediate outcome of the master plan.
Okay, thank you. And I just quickly stress, the reason I've been emphasizing this is because, I mean, I think the forward-looking view you've gotten, the drawing on best practices, frankly, globally, is excellent, and we can put the infrastructure in place over a period of time for transit that we believe we need to make this work. But a lot of this has to do with behaviors and frankly, the North American culture. Yeah. And so if we don't have a strategy that's very fine, detailed strategy that, as we've talked about in other workshops, and we had a presentation on it, it's full of those nudges that nudge us in the direction we need to go, we could have the proper system in place, but not the ridership we need to make that work. And so getting the system in place is one, getting people on the system, and that's the strategy, I think, that will help us get that second part, which is getting the people on the system as well as having it. So thank you very much.
So.
Thank you. Councillor Hampton.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation as well. My question was in regards to a transit hub in Newmarket. I know in the previous transportation master plan that the region had produced, there was some discussion or some mention of transportation hub at Mulock. And I'm wondering, in Newmarket we have a train station that's at the Tannery Center, and we have a GO station that's on Yonge Street. And I've spoke with many people, and I'm a transit user myself, and I use it as often as I possibly can. And there's a real disconnection in between, the bus and the train, and these parts aren't fitting together. And I'm wondering what the region's doing to advocate for a hub, a one-stop shop where we can use transit in our community in Newmarket along Mulock.
Mr. Collins?
Yes. So the one-stop shop concept, I don't think is what we're trying to achieve with transit. We want to have accessibility to transit in all sorts of different areas of the region and within the town of Newmarket. As part of our master plan, we are advocating for additional GO stations, including the station along the Barrie GO line at Mulock and where the rail line crosses. So that is one of the recommendations that's coming out of our master plan, is to have that station put into place by 2041. The development of the Viva Rapid Transit system along Davis Drive and what will be along Yonge Street as well is going to improve the connectivity between the GO station at Davis Drive and Eagle, or the transit terminal at Davis Drive and Eagle, and the GO station at the Tannery. So there will be better connectivity with the development, or there is now better connectivity with the development of the Viva Rapid Transit system. And as I said, as part of our master plan, we're recommending and advocating for the Mulock GO station.
Okay, that's good news. Also, I had a question in regards to the level of the grade separation on that map, if you could pull that up.
Yes.
Yep. So we're showing grade separation. The map's fairly small along Davis Drive and Mulock, or is that correct?
Yes.
And can you tell me the progress on that, and is there any kind of a commitment from the province or how that works?
So I can tell you there's very little progress. We haven't dealt with the province at all on the grade separations. The province, through Metrolinx, is assessing the grade separations network-wide that are going to be needed to initially support the Regional Express Rail 10-year service plan and then the ultimate build-out of Regional Express Rail. So that's what the province is doing, and they are not at a point yet where they're prepared to publicly share the results of their analysis with us. We have done our own analysis, and I should stress it's a need-based analysis. It's not a feasibility study. It's not a what could it look like study. It is purely a need-based analysis using a lot of safety-related criteria. And so when we take a look at the crossings of Davis Drive and the GO Rail line, Mulock and the GO Rail line, the number of trains and the number of vehicles cause the transportation operators to think that a grade separation should be considered. And that's what we're saying here, is that a grade separation at those crossings should be considered. I should really, really stress that there is a lot of work still to be done to assess what those could look like, how they could be integrated into the community, and it is only after a lot of that work is done that we can start talking about the timing for them. But right now what you're looking at is a needs-based assessment.
Has the province made any type of commitment on how many grade separation locations that they're going to be providing in the region, or a dollar amount or anything like that, so we have some idea of where we fall within the priority list?
The only thing that they have made available to us publicly, and it was just actually on Easter Monday, is the initial business case for the Regional Express Rail service concept. The initial business case is essentially the business justification for the provincial commitment to deliver RER, or 15-minute two-way all-day service on their network. And that includes some of the infrastructure that it's important to say that they believe will be needed, but it's not a full suite of infrastructure. They're continuing to do that through the ongoing assessments that the province is doing and regional staff are participating in for a system-wide grade separation study, a system-wide new station analysis study that's underway, and these are all pieces of work that are being done to support that initial business case analysis that they released. But that is the only thing that they've made available publicly.
Thank you.
Councillor Sponga.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the presentation. I think in hearing not just your presentation, but even some of the answers to the questions that are being raised, is there at one point or another, I guess, the Transportation Master Plan and the work being done by Metrolinx is going to have to dovetail somehow. And that still leaves the local municipalities out of the equation. It's obvious that you would look at grade separations on regional roads and you wouldn't address grade separations on municipal or lower tier municipal roads. And that becomes part of that discussion. I think that has to also take place because, as Councillor Hempin, I guess, alluded, there's only going to be so many grade separations through that particular Toronto-Barrie line. So how will that dovetailing work? Will that work prior to the adoption of the master plan at a regional level, or is there a plan prior to the fall to have both the Metrolinx work and the regional work somehow dovetail or meet somewhere?
Mr. Collins.
So the planning processes are all going in parallel. Metrolinx is challenged to meet the provincial commitment of delivering the 15-minute two-way service by 2025, so within the 10-year period. And they are also constrained from a financial standpoint. And so we have been continuing to ask them what are they planning to build from an infrastructure standpoint, and they continue to say they're not ready to share that information yet. So there is a disconnect in the planning that Metrolinx is doing for the RER and that 10-year service concept and our master plan. Having said that, Metrolinx is also underway on the update to the regional transportation plan, or the big move as it's typically referred to, which will overlap quite well with our transportation master plan. And we're looking to use the recommendations of our master plan to gain regional council support for those recommendations, and then use that as input into that regional transportation plan update. For example, when you look at the transit map that Ms. Gibson showed, it identified the regional express rail level of service going up to the Green Lane station, which means that by the 2041 horizon year, we are recommending and showing a need for that level of frequency, or that frequency of rail service up to the Green Lane or the East Gwillimbury GO station. And so that's going to be securing regional council endorsement, and then we're going to use that as updates to in our formal comments into the regional transportation plan review. There is also another transportation study that is just being kicked off by the Ministry of Transportation, so the other transportation arm of the provincial government, referred to as the Greater Golden Horseshoe Transportation Study, or Multimodal Transportation Study. And that is, as the Metrolinx study is essentially the provincial transit study, the Greater Golden Horseshoe study is the Ministry of Transportation, I'll say all things transportation except transit. So it's the goods movement, it's the freeway network, it's the office access outside of sort of the main employment areas. So
I think you've fully tried to cover the answers to the question. Thank you so much.
Sorry to be long-winded.
Regional Councillor.
Yeah, I just want to make a couple of quick points and then ask maybe through you, Mr. Mayor, if staff could also comment. But one, I just want to say a couple of things because we always get asked about these points, which are, first of all, that the town is engaged in multiple fronts in discussions with Metrolinx in the province about the extension of 15-minute service into Newmarket. We haven't gotten great signals back on that, but we're also advocating very strongly for a new station at Mulock and that is still yet to be decided through the new station study, and we're waiting somewhat anxiously to hear about that and where that might happen in the timeline, and ideally in that first 10-year period. So those are being actively pursued, and we're well aware of the case that we need to make in terms of this being a growth center and the investment of Viva on Davis Drive. So we continue to have those conversations every chance we get. And the other thing I was wondering, Mr. Mayor, if we couldn't get just to touch on Councillor Hempton's comments, if we couldn't get staff maybe to provide an update on the hub studies or the hub studies, because I think that speaks to all of this, and I think it's a missing part of the conversation.
Mr. Nohammer? Thank you. Through Mr. Mayor. Yes, as Ms. Gibson indicated, an initial meeting was held with Metrolinx staff, regional staff, YRTC staff, and the LSRCA to begin discussions on how to proceed with the mobility hub study on Davis Drive at the GO station. And our preliminary discussions have led to the conclusion that Metrolinx should be the lead for the study, with participation from the other agencies, including the town, the region, RTC, etc. They have organized a roster of consultants to work on these types of studies throughout the urban areas, and they will be assigning a consultant to work on this particular study. Right now we're developing the terms of reference and the scope in terms of the area, the primary area, secondary area, and tertiary area that the study should look at. And matters such as the GO bus terminal were also identified as important as an element to integrate into that mobility hub study. It will focus on integrating all the modes, including the bus rapid transit with the GO, as well as active transportation routes. It's an ideal location to take advantage of that. And of course, being on our intensification corridor, development around the station is also very important to the town and the region. So we're looking at all of those aspects when we go forward with the terms of reference for the mobility hub study. In terms of timing, we hope to have the terms of reference and the consultant underway, I would say probably the terms of reference done by the summer and the consultant underway by September. And
Mr. Mayor, through you also, and would it be fair to say that if we're successful in our advocacy around a MULOC station, that would involve extensive studies that would accompany an exploration of a new station at that site that would, if not approximate, be essentially a hub study? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, we haven't discussed how things might change if MULOC GO station were introduced into the picture, but I share your opinion that it would definitely have to be, assessed in terms of how we look at the mobility hub location on Davis Drive vis-a-vis what elements get included at MULOC. So it would be included in the assessment.
And finally, I believe there was some discussion or speculation about the potential for a transportation hub study or transit hub study around the GO bus station vis-a-vis the Glenway discussions and the mall redevelopment. Is anybody able to shed any light on that? Is that something that was contemplated more in relation to the mall redevelopment, or is that something that still is on the to-do list? Or
thank you, Mr. Mayor. Unless the Commissioner can give you an update on that, I think we'd have to get back to Council through our planning department.
Okay,
so if you're able to, Peter.
Yeah, I just want to add that I believe that both locations have been identified as mobility hubs in the secondary plan. So that's why I said when we look at scope for the mobility hub study at the Tannery location, we'd also look at how the mobility hub at the GO bus terminal gets integrated, and whether it's sort of a dual hub or whether we try and integrate both so that it's sort of one larger hub, and how the different modes interact would be considered and addressed.
Okay, if we can, and if there's any more information at any time on that, if we can be. Thank you.
Thank you.
When would the mandate and the scope and the scale of the hub study come to council? Are we going to see a final product, or are we going to have an opportunity to provide some input in terms of the concerns relative to the overall hub study? Mr. Nohammer?
it would be our intention to bring members of council up to speed with respect to the mobility hub scope and terms of reference. We can do that a number of ways, and we would certainly take your direction in terms of how you would like to be briefed. Anything from information reports to presentations to committee of the whole, and to confirm the direction that staff are moving forward. We can do any one of a number of those.
I think the impact of a hub study would be quite significant for our community, and so council being informed as this goes forward, I think would be very helpful for us just to, as to how that's done. I'll leave that with staff. I find something interesting, Mr. Collins, and that is the green lane from, it looks like the GO station over to the 404. Yep. That appears to be a future 6-lane widening, is that correct?
Correct.
What's the timing around that? I see so many headlights or taillights lighting up all the way from Main Street to Leslie in the mornings.
Yeah, so we have started to take a look at the phasing of the master plan recommendations, and that's a project that's in the, I'll say, the middle part of our plan, and the middle part of our plan is the 10 to 20 year time frame. It isn't a project that we're looking at in the nearer term, so within the 10-year typical capital construction program we have, but the timing of that will be based on the overall needs and the capacity of the region to deliver that capital.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Kerwin.
Hello, Mr. Collins. Nice to see you here.
Thank you.
I had a great relationship with your father, Thornhill. Give him my
did.
best regards. A question. The Green Lane. I walked north on the Tom Taylor Trail, came to the Green Lane,
yep.
and walked westward to Yonge Street.
Yep.
There are no sidewalks on the Green Lane, a major, major artery. Is that, when we talk about pedestrians, we talk about bike lanes, is that projected in the future, sidewalks, at least on one side from Yonge Street over to Leslie? I know there's a lot of construction going on, and I know there's going to be a ton of houses going up there.
Yeah.
But if you're going to encourage pedestrians, and I'm a walker as well as a biker, just leisurely biker, it was very, very dangerous for me to walk westward on the Green Lane to Yonge Street. So, if you're going to encourage people to walk, then there should be safe sidewalks. So is there any projection of sidewalks going on the Green Lane, right across?
So it's the quick answer is yes. The longer answer is one of the things that we're trying to do with the policy direction on boulevard jurisdiction is to put a single point of accountability for those pedestrian facilities like sidewalks. Right now we've got sort of the two tiers of responsibility, that being York Region builds the boulevard space and the local municipality builds the sidewalk. And so what we find is that because York Region is not responsible for the sidewalks, we don't think of that in our prioritization and how we program our capital works. And so if we're not responsible for the sidewalk, we wouldn't have that as a strong factor in our overall prioritization. But if we move in the direction where York Region is responsible for that, that will become a much bigger influencer in how we prioritize our capital. And so projects like Green Lane would float higher in our prioritization. But we would also be taking a look at specific projects that would be building out a boulevard to create that space for a sidewalk. Because right now, the roadside environment along Green Lane is what we refer to as a rural cross-section where there's shoulders and ditches. And so there isn't that boulevard space or that flat space to put the sidewalk. And so what we would be looking at as part of our master plan, and if we end up with the responsibility for the sidewalks, is special projects where we're going and just urbanizing the road, sort of ahead of needing to do a road capacity expansion project. So
Would this apply also to Leslie, which is also a regional road on the east side of Leslie from Mulock to Davis? Once again, there really isn't a demarcated sidewalk, and Leslie is, with the construction on Yonge Street, Leslie is taking the brunt now of the traffic flow. People are moving off of Yonge Street onto Leslie, and yet we don't have a safe pedestrian sidewalk on the east side of Leslie. Is that, I mean, here we talk about we're trying to get people to walk, we're trying to get people to bike, we're trying to get people to use the transit. But you know, if you use the public transit, then you need a decent sidewalk connector, whether it's the municipality or the region. There has to be coordination between the two to make sure that it's implemented, because I really believe in when I look at the projected population of York Region, excuse me, in the future, I believe the population of York Region will be greater than what you have projected. Okay. And the reason being is because the Ministry of Immigration, which is federal, has stepped up immigration. Mm-hmm. This year alone, we're going to be taking in 300,000 people. Most of them will come into, a lot of them will come into York Region or the regions around the GTA. So I believe your figure is even out now at 1.2 million. Down the road, with intensification, and that's what the province is telling us to do, you're going to put more people in a smaller area. Mm-hmm. So I think your projections of the statistics for York Region are out sizably down the road, and I think they've been out along the way. I think it's going to be greater than what your thing. So I think if you're going to have the bus lanes and the buses, and when a person comes to the end of that bus lane and wants to walk, then I think we have the sidewalks in place to encourage people to walk. Sorry about my voice. I came down with a bit of a cold when I came back to this cold climate recently. But anyway, thank you very much, Stephen, for your presentation. But I know I'm in good hands having worked with your dad. Thank you so much.
So the complexity of the issue that you're referencing, Councillor Kerwin, is that the municipality is East Gwillimbury, and it's a regional road, and it's affecting Newmarket residents. So that adds to the complexity. Councillor Twinney.
Thank you. Just to follow up on Councillor Kerwin's comments about the, and your comments as well, about the disconnect of the issue with the sidewalks being part of the municipality, and even you put in the boulevards, but we're responsible for the sidewalks, and there is a lot of confusion out there in the public too with regards to who is responsible for what, you know, when they see that the region's taking care of the roads. And right now we're in the midst of Leslie Street being redone, and Councillor Kerwin commented about the fact that there's limited sidewalk, there's no sidewalks on the east side, and even the sidewalk on the west side is very not a great sidewalk for pedestrians. But so what is, so, and you said that, you know, this is what you would like to see, that it come under the umbrella of the region to take care of all this, and so that it's more seamless. But so what are the next steps then to get us to that point, and what is the time frame, and what needs to be done, and so where are we looking at? Because when people hear that this is what you want to do, they're thinking that it's going to happen, you know, next year, but it, you know, I mean, in reality, it probably won't. So what is the reality of how we proceed and how that transformation takes place and how long it will take?
Okay. So it's as simple as it sounds. Like many things where you're changing responsibility between levels of government, it is complicated. The Municipal Act does require that the region enter into agreements with each of the local municipalities for the transition of the responsibility of sidewalks from the local municipality to the region. But first we have to land our master plan and get regional council endorsement of it. That will be the trigger for us to engage in formal discussions with municipal staff about the transition of responsibility from local municipalities to the region. Once we have the principles in place for that transition, then we take agreements to all of our councils, so the local councils and regional council, to get the agreements in place. And then after that, we do the transition plan, which is we would start budgeting for the capital and operating costs to be put into the regional responsibility, and local municipalities would proceed accordingly. When I have started to plot out when that would be and how long it would take, we're looking at the 2019, I'll call it calendar year, to be the first year in which York Region would be responsible for the service of the sidewalks and the boulevard facilities, just because of the amount of time it takes to put the agreements in place and then start budgeting for the next calendar year.
Okay, that's very helpful, and actually, you know, I mean, that doesn't sound too far off when you think that next year's 2017, right? So, great, thank you.
Thank you. So in terms of transferring the responsibility for boulevards, would that include lighting? Because I think we're doing the power costs and the lighting, so that's good. And then I think my colleagues would be disappointed if I didn't ask, would the intention be to put down fiber optic cable and or conduit along all of these corridors?
So I will say it's a good question, and I'm going to answer it maybe a little bit differently than you were expecting. When we take a look at the transportation system, and we're talking about building a road network fit for the future, the one thing that we want to protect for as we're building out our network is the evolution of technology. And what I mean by that is by 2041, the amount of data that is going to be flowing between our transportation system infrastructure, so the traffic signals, the traffic signal controllers, our traffic management center, and all of the vehicles is going to be significantly more than it is today. So the one thing that we're wrestling with as part of our plan is what is the region's role in communications infrastructure specific for the transportation system. I know there's a larger regional role in broadband and providing broadband service, but we are taking a look at that. To deliver regional transportation service, there being a significant communications and data exchange requirement, and we're looking at that as part of our projects. The earlier work would likely be allocating space within our corridors for the regional communications service.
So you're saying we might need some additional conversations
for
the economic development component.
Yep.
Thank you. This has been a great presentation. You're driving a big ship here. There's a lot to get done, and with a lot of dynamics. It's very complex. Equally important is that there are a ton of disruptors that may, when we think about the impact of Uber, where we start thinking about driverless vehicles, you know, the future that lies ahead of us between now and 2041 could be subject to very significant change. So it's important that you have the base framework together, and that framework allows for the introduction of technology and technological disruptors. So you have a real challenge.
Yes, sir.
But thank you for bringing us up to date. If there's no further questions, I'll have a motion to receive the presentation. Councillor Bay, Councillor Broom-Plumley, all those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
And that passes. Thank you. Our next item then is the approval of council minutes of February 29th. Are there any errors, omissions, or corrections? Being none then, can I have Councillor Sponga moving them, seconded by Councillor Hempin? All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Reports by regional representatives. Regional Councillor.
Thanks. Two quick things I wanted to highlight tonight. First of all, on Friday, April the 15th, the Human Services Planning Board, which I co-chair, is meeting, and at that meeting, we will, at the conclusion of that meeting, we will be partnering with the United Way of Toronto and York Region to launch their report, York Region, and the precarity penalty, the impact of precarious employment on individuals, households, and communities, and what to do about it. So the Human Services Planning Board is putting a large emphasis this term, along with housing, on employment, and particularly on precarious employment, or non-stable, non-permanent employment. And we're partnering with the United Way of Toronto and York Region. So it's going to be an interesting report to see from them, and I think it's going to help to set some of the conversation, some of the direction that the Human Services Planning Board and the region itself takes in this area. That's a growing challenge in many jurisdictions across North America. Also, I just want to touch on once a year we do a review of the greening strategy at York Region. And this really just is a reminder to ourselves, of course, but also to the public that we're keeping a close eye and doing a great deal of work in terms of making sure that York Region remains green. First of all, stated many times before, but 69% of York Region, the entire region, is protected under the Greenbelt legislation in Oak Ridges Moraine. But further to that, just in 2015 alone, we planted 1,164 trees related to emerald ash borer management plan and replacing those diseased trees. An additional 3,328 trees were planted on regional roads to keep greening the regional roadscapes, and we've seen some of that occur in Newmarket. In total in the region in 2015, through various partnerships and initiatives, 94,637 trees were planted in 2015 alone, and also very importantly, 180 acres or 74 hectares of land were added to our control or the control of other jurisdictions that we partner with to permanently protect those. So permanently protected a further 180 acres of land in York Region. And so each year we continue to produce a bit of a report card along these lines, and it makes sure that we're continue to make achievements and to reach the targets and goals we're setting for ourselves in our efforts to green York Region. Thank you very much.
Any questions? Okay. Being none, then let's go forward to the committees, reports of committees and staff. The first item, number 4, is the joint report on recreation and culture, and that's with respect to the implementation plan for future facilities and land use. We do have the recommendations before us. And so if we could, okay, moved by a regional councillor. Is there a seconder for the Councillor Kerwin? Okay, thank you. Speaking to the recommendations, regional councillor, as the mover.
No, well, I will say very briefly, as we've had quite a bit of a discussion over quite a bit of time, obviously coming out of the recreation playbook and a considerable amount of and very innovative public consultation that's led to this report. This is moving forward a number of phases of recreation enhancements. One of the strategic priorities of this council for this term is to enhance recreation opportunities in the community, and I would describe this as one of the more significant steps forward for this municipality ever in terms of bringing online significant new recreational opportunities, including a artificial turf field, 2 spray pads or splash pads, 2 skateboard parks, an outdoor arena, and much more. And so I think this is really, I would hate to see this ever go unnoticed or underplayed. This is a very, I think, a very exciting time for the town and for the residents of the town, and certainly those who are active and have young active children, as I do. But it's really a lot of new recreational opportunities, and pickleball courts I know are going in that targets their senior demographic, and so there's a lot of very new opportunities for our community in the area of recreation. It was one of our priorities, and I think the residents are going to see in the next couple of years the significant results of the recreation playbook and council's decision to prioritize this area during this term. And so just very excited to see it go in another important step forward, and starting to see some of these priorities that we've heard from the public through various types of consultation start to come online. So I'm really supportive and excited about this report.
Thank you. Councillor Kerwin.
Yes, just to reinforce our regional councillor, a lot of these capital projects are being funded out of development charges, and almost 100%, and that's great to see. But when you look at the playbook and you look at phase 1, there is something in there for everyone, every user. An artificial turf field in partnership with the York Region District School Board. I think that's important that people know that. We are partnering with the schools in many of our things, like you see shared use up in the northwest quadrant. I think this is really important. We're trying to maximize every single facility that we have in the town of Newmarket, but there's something in there from the time you're born until, you know, like me, you belong to the seniors meeting place, and here we're pickleball. Who ever heard of pickleball a few years ago? And yet it's a very, very popular sport at the seniors meeting place. So I just echo what our regional councillor has said. It's exciting, and a lot of these things are going to be implemented this year, and they will be in use for 2017. I think that's important.
Thank you. I'm supporting the recommendations as well. Particularly, there's some opportunities for partnerships, and we're talking currently with Pickering College and looking at maximizing the potential of having a shared use facility there. I'm excited as well about the opportunity to partner with our hospital and their cardiac program for the fitness center at the Magna Center. So what I like about this is that we're actually getting to the action-oriented parts of some really good planning. And it's complex because there are a number of things that are conditional on other things happening. And so I think that there's been a lot of work put into it, and the community is going to see a ton of progress over the next short while. And so they should. Councillor Kerwin?
Yes, just in sum, we have a new director of culture and recreation. He's been here maybe 2 years, maybe even less. But he's come from the private sector, he's come from the public sector. But he's lives in Newmarket, related to Newmarket, and he has a fantastic vision. And you have to look at what his staff has done here too. And he's taken not just recreation, but culture to another level. And it wasn't always that way when I moved here in 1971. But culture is now first, front, and center, and it's reflected in the playbook, and it's reflected what we're trying to do with the town of Newmarket. So to the director and his boss, the commissioner, and his staff, he's done a fantastic job. He's been visionary, and we're lucky to have him.
Thank you. It's involved a lot of facilities, so I would, to Mr. Shelton and the team all in, this has been a great achievement, and we're looking forward to making this happen. Okay. No further discussion. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Item number 5 is the workshop minutes of March 21st, and those strategic priorities. Could I have a motion with respect to receiving those, please? Councillor Twinney. Regional Councillor. All those in favor? That is carried. Next item is the closed workshop session record of March 21st, and that was relative to the strategic properties. Could I have a motion, please, that the closed workshop record of March 21st be approved? Councillor Hempin, Councillor Sponga. All those in favor? And that is carried. So council received, with respect to the closed session, council received a presentation from the Director of Legal Services, the Town Solicitor, and the Senior Solicitor, which provided an overview of the strategic properties and an update of current land acquisition and disposition negotiations. As not all items were dealt with, a further council workshop closed session will be held on April the 18th. Next item then is the Committee of the Whole minutes of March 21st. We will be dealing with items number 32 to 45 separately as a result of declarations. Are there any other items that need to be dealt with separately? Councillor Bizantz.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to request just an update on items under new business C and D.
New business C and D, and that's item number? C and D. Okay, just under new business.
Under
it's
new
not,
business, yeah.
Yep, it's not indexed. Okay, any other items? Could I have a motion then to deal with all items with the exception of new business items C and D and the exception of 32 to 45? Councillor Sponga, Councillor Bizantz, all those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. With respect to items number 32 to 45, because they're being dealt with by declarations, can I have a mover and a seconder for those items? Councillor Sponga. Second. Councillor Hempin. Any discussion? All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Items number C and D, new business. Councillor Bazance?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just actually wanted to have an update on item number C under new business with respect to the former Goodwill site. It had been suggested in the minutes that staff would work to find alternatives for community groups alternative community groups who would like to accept donations. But I was just interested in as well in what's being done to clean up the site, because it's getting quite messy, and I've had a number of residents express concern about the safety as well as just the visual unsightliness.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Shelton.
Actually, Mr. Mayor, if I could ask the Director of Legislative Services to deal with the two issues, one by law enforcement and also for alternate locations for materials.
Mr. Brower.
Thank you, through you to Mr. Mayor. Our bylaw enforcement officers have been in touch with the current owner of the property, and they're going through a property standards process at the moment. And what I can do is just update council, perhaps to follow the meeting tonight and just see what the status of that is now. There is usually some time to come into compliance based on the notice timeframes, but I'm not sure where that specifically is. Certainly the staff are aware of that, so it could just be a matter of timing with the particular property owner now. Regarding the arrangements with the local charity, we have tried to make that outreach, and I know that Councillor Sponga had made an inquiry about it, but I think the Goodwill group in Hamilton had expressed an interest in that. They're still operating a different jurisdiction than the GTA Toronto group, but I'm not sure if they have actually come to pick up the goods at this point. Inside.
Inside, okay.
Yeah.
Certainly not outside.
No.
Regional Councillor?
I spoke with Leslie Long about this as well, and my understanding is, and this isn't gospel, but my understanding is that the owners of the site are cooperative, and they're exploring some options. One of the options, and I believe it's more than just exploring, we'll probably be moving forward on, is fencing, temporarily fencing the area to stop the dumping. Some has already been cleaned up in the past, and then it reemerges. And also there was some signage, but I think they're looking at even larger signage. So they're going to be taking some steps, and I believe it's going to happen relatively soon. But just thought I'd throw that in there. That's what I heard from Leslie as some potential actions that are either being seriously explored or moving forward.
Wondering if we might be able to give some thought to a communications strategy in terms of letting people know that this is no longer operating.
Yes,
Mr. Brower?
yes, I should mention that is part of the plan, as well as I understand the signage for the area as part of the fencing that's going up will help to deter some of that, just so that people don't have that visual cue. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Bazance, item number D.
Yes, thank you very much. At our last meeting, we announced that Ward 1 and Ward 7 had come in with a tie for War of the Worlds, or War of the Wards, in the Earth Hour competition. And I have to say it was a lot of fun, but it was also a wonderful way of engaging the communities around town in a common cause, and one that was worthwhile to do. So I was just wondering in follow-up if we're any closer to an idea on how the celebrations will happen. There are a couple of events that are very connected to the environment. The Cleanup Day on the 7th of May, I believe, which involves all communities and getting volunteers out to clean up our parks and streams and so forth. That might be a good occasion for one. And I know that there's also the Network Neighborhood Annual Tree Planting Day coming up. So another event that I think would be tied very nicely. But in any event, I'm getting asked when the barbecue is happening. So
Okay, you got your spatula ready, Regional Councillor?
Yes, yeah, so the short answer is that Councillor Vague's already been in to see me and to work on dates, and with our partners that are involved in Earth Hour with us, NEAC and Conservation Authority, Hydro, et cetera. We can work and pin down a date, so the two of us should sit down as well and talk about that, and then plan out, how that would best work. But just some logistical planning, but I think the key is getting a date that works for the wards, and we'll go from there. But I agree, it was a great success. There was a lot of fun, a lot of engagement by the public, and it was a good new way to sort of engage the community around Earth Hour. And every year we look for a new way to do that, and this was quite successful.
Thank you. Okay. Then, since those matters were not dealt with, could I have a motion then to receive Councillor Bazant, seconded by Councillor Broom-Plumley? All those in favor? Great. Thank you. Next item is bylaws. We have 3 bylaws. Does anybody wish to have any of the bylaws dealt with separately? Mr. Clerk, if you could provide an overview of those bylaws then, please.
Sure thing, Mr. Mayor. Bylaw 2016-12 is an exemption from the noise bylaw to allow for road rehabilitation works by York Region on Prospect Street between April the 11th and June the 10th between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. That's Monday through Saturday if required. Bylaw 2016-13 amends the parking bylaw to remove no parking restrictions on the south side of 302 through 334 Alex Donor Drive. And Bylaw 2016-14 amends the parking bylaw to add no parking restrictions on the north side of Walter Avenue between Newbury Drive and number 48 Walter Avenue, and on the west side of Walter Avenue between Barber Road and Cardinal Crescent.
Okay. Thank you. Can I have a mover? Councillor Vague. Seconder? Councillor Sponga. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Are there any notices of motion? Any motions? Councillor Bazans?
Sorry, yes. I'd like to raise a notice of motion that I'll bring forward to the next meeting with respect to a resolution around the Ontario Municipal Board and requiring that, or asking that the province enact a meaningful process to look at review of the Ontario Municipal Board, particularly as it relates to preserving the integrity of municipal official plans.
Okay. Will that be coming forward to Committee of the Whole or direct
Yes.
to Council? To Committee of the Whole. Okay, good. Thank you. Any motions? Being none. Announcements. Regional Councillor. We'll work from the centre.
Catch us off guard. So I just wanted to make everybody aware that the Community Energy Plan open house is taking place on Tuesday, April the 19th. It's Tuesday, April the 19th from 5 to 7 p.m. here at the municipal offices. The plan examines and proposes initiatives regarding energy efficient buildings and neighborhoods, energy efficiency transportation systems, energy efficient distribution, clean and renewable energy, greenhouse gas emissions reductions on a town-wide basis, and much more. So anybody who's interested in providing input into this plan, please attend this event. This is a very significant planning process we're going through. At the regional and the town level, we often go through recreation master planning, transportation master planning, and many other forms of master planning. This is relatively new, and it was introduced through the regional official plan, the town official plan, and provincial legislation. And we're one of the first communities to be going through this energy planning process. And I think it's going to have quite an impact on the direction of many municipalities, including Newmarket. So please do come out and look into this and provide your input and your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Twinney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tomorrow night, Tuesday, April 5th, I'm hosting my Ward 3 meeting at the Newmarket Community Centre in Lions Hall at 200 Doug Duncan Drive. Please feel free to attend anytime between 7 and 8:30 p.m. I'm changing up the format a little bit. I usually have a formal presentation, but this time I'm changing it up a little bit so that you can drop by anytime between 7 and 8:30, whatever works best for your schedule. And if you have anything that you would like to discuss with me, please feel free to send me an email at j20@newmarket.ca or my phone number at 905-806-5258 so I can ensure that I have all the information ready for you. So I look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you. Councillor Kerwin.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have the unpleasant duties tonight to announce some road closures. It's the rail, track, and road repairs that have been long overdue at Water Street. There'll be rail closures from 5 p.m. Friday, April 15th to 5 p.m. Saturday, April 16th, so that's a major disruption. Water Street will be closed between Prospect and Doug Duncan Drive. Timothy Street rail closure from 5 p.m. Saturday, April 16th to 5 p.m. Sunday, April 17th. At Timothy Street will be closed between Prospect and Doug Duncan Drive. And these closures are really significant. That people, they're well posted, and people are going to have to find alternate routes on those days. And that's once again Friday, April 15th, and then again Saturday, April the 16th. One will be closed at Water Street, and the other will be closed at Timothy Street. And so there'll be opposite or alternate routes on those days, Mr. Mayor. But I must say the staff has really posted it well, so it gives people almost a week and a half notification to find alternate routes. And it is on the weekend, and it has to be done, Mr. Mayor. There's no alternative to that. A second item is on April 17th from 1 to about 4 o'clock. I'm also having a Ward 2 ward meeting at the library. This is on a Sunday. Normally I have them on a Saturday, but this is on a Sunday. And I'll continue to have them at the library until the weather improves. And I will be talking about the spaghetti dinner that the Meeting House sponsors 10 times a year on the third Sunday of every month at the Community Centre, and I'll do that under new business, Mr. Mayor. Other than that, no further business.
Thank you. Councillor Begg.
Thank you. Thank you. This seems to be the evening to announce ward meetings. We do have the Ward 1 monthly community drop-in coming up tomorrow night. That's April 5th from 7 in the evening till 9 at the Magna Centre, main floor. And this is an opportunity for Ward 1 residents to come by, talk about what's happening in our ward, talk about what's happening here in the town. So I'm looking forward to seeing my neighbors again. Hopefully the weather will be a little bit nicer than today. If you'd like more information on our Ward 1 drop-in meeting or really anything that's happening here in the town, please contact me at 905-895-5193, or you can also email me at tvague@newmarket.ca. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hempel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a great event, and it's taking place this Saturday, and it's a Bowl for Kids' Sake in support of Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Joe Sponga is our team captain for the... Christina Bizant is our team captain. I didn't get the email. I didn't see the memo. So that's great. So it's a great event. It's taking place. It's a Bowl for Kids' Sake in support of Big Brothers and Big Sisters of York, BBBSY. And it's taking place this Saturday, April 9th at Stellar Lanes. Please come out and support BBBSY. For more details and information, go to the website at www.bbbsy.ca or call 905-726-2149, extension 324. Hope to see you there.
Thank you. Councillor Sponga.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to take the opportunity to thank Councillor Bizans for stepping in on such a short notice. Unfortunately, I will be away on a personal matter, but I know that she'll be a much more efficient captain than myself. So maybe it's the start of a new tradition for Christina. So thank you so much for doing that. Another fun event coming up, which is it's sometimes away. It's September 10th, but I just wanted to bring it forth now. Ask the residents of Newmarket, and especially the residents of Quaker Hill, to visit the Facebook page called Quaker Hill Festival. A group of residents in Quaker Hill have been meeting on a regular basis. I know they need Donna, Mike, Mika, Natalie, and Melissa need a lot of help putting together the first annual Quaker Hill Festival, which will take place at Quaker Park. So if you have an opportunity, please visit Quaker Hill Festival on Facebook. And if you want to volunteer or participate, please contact the volunteers through that media. Also, and I didn't want to be left out, as Councillor Haveg said, this is the night to announce ward meetings. On Wednesday, April 20th at 7 p.m., I'm hosting a Ward 5 meeting in the council chambers here at the Town of Newmarket Municipal Offices at 395 Mulock. Come and have a discussion and ask some questions in terms of what's happening in Ward 5 and the town at large. For more information, please feel free to call me at 905-953-5323 at extension 5323, or at 905-953-5300 at extension 2025, or email me at jsponga@newmarket.ca. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Broom-Plumley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Town of Newmarket Recreation and Culture Department is hosting a Volunteer Appreciation Night of Distinction event taking place on Tuesday, April the 12th at the Community Center in Lions Hall starting at 6:30. Please join us as we celebrate our community volunteers.
Thank you. Councillor Bazance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And just so that Councillor Kerwin didn't have to be the conveyor of all the road closure bad news, I'd like to advise that Main Street will be closed to through traffic at Davis and Simcoe Streets between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Monday, April 11th. The good news is that the reason for the closure is the installation of the gateway signage. So that's on Monday 11th, April 11th, between 9 and 4 between Davis and Simcoe.
Great. Thank you. I'll start off by sharing with you the contents of a news release from the Municipal Affairs and Housing Province of Ontario this afternoon at 12:30. The province is proposing amendments to the Municipal Elections Act 1996, which sets out the rules for electors and for candidates. And in summary, the proposal here, if passed, will give municipalities the authority to pass a bylaw to use the ranked ballot voting system. And one of the requirements will be is that the municipalities consult with the public before we decide to implement the ranked ballot system. The second and very significant change is that the municipal election campaign period will be reduced by 120 days. What that means is that candidates will not be able to register for municipal elections until May the 1st, and that period is May the 1st until the 4th Friday in July, and that's instead of being able to register on January the 1st to the 2nd Friday in September. And so that substantially alters the candidacy and the registration program. They're also proposing a change to third-party advertising. They will be regulating third-party advertising, and that would include contributions and spending limits. And it will require third parties to identify themselves on signs and on advertisements. In addition to that, they will be giving all municipalities the option to ban corporate and union donations and setting clear spending limits on post-campaign spending on gifts and parties. And finally, to improve compliance and enforcement, the rules under the Act will be clearer and simpler for voters, candidates, and contributors to follow. And that might include things like refunding nomination fees to candidates only after they file their financial statements. So that's hot off the press. And there will be some guidelines that would be provided to the clerks so that they could prepare accessibility plans and to identify and remove any barriers, although I think we've been quite progressive in that area as well. The province plans to introduce the proposed amendments now so that municipalities will have the opportunity to consider the ranked ballots before the 2018 elections. So we'll have a good opportunity to consult with our community. I will also be giving my annual address to the Newmarket Chamber of Commerce on Friday, April the 22nd, at the Cardinal Golf Club. And if that's not exciting enough, also, Dr. Dave Williams, the President and the CEO of South Lake Regional Health Center, will also be speaking. And I think this recognizes the important partnership that we have and the significant role that South Lake has in our community. So I think that this will be a very informative and helpful and I think engaging dialogue. If you're interested in participating or in attending, please contact the Newmarket Chamber of Commerce at 905-895-5900 to purchase tickets for this event. Additionally, if anyone has anything that they'd wish to discuss with me, I will be at Mayor in the Square at the Newmarket Public Library on Friday, April the 15th from 11 a.m. until noon. And our next council meeting is on Monday, April 25th at 7 p.m. New business. Councillor Kerwin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I apologize to the viewers for a rather scratchy voice. I have had a cold the last couple of days. But I would like to reply to an article in the Era, which is dated March the 10th, 2016. And I know that I have put on weight, but I did not eat one spaghetti dinner at the meeting house that cost $367.80. So the spaghetti dinner that the meeting house puts on is admirable, but it's incorrect. That spaghetti dinner at the meeting, it wasn't at the meeting house, and it wasn't for a spaghetti dinner, the $367.80. And why I'm replying to this is because, once again, Luigi Giorno, in the Era banner of March 31st, commented on Councillor Dave Kerwin's 367 spaghetti dinner. So I didn't eat all that spaghetti at one time, Mr. Mayor, okay? But what did happen was, 2 years ago, a wonderful organization called the Meeting House approached me to pay the permits that they required to use the community center, where they hold this spaghetti dinner. And it's a wonderful organization, and I extended an invitation to Chris Simon for the spaghetti dinner on April the 17th at around 6 o'clock, and also Luigi Giorno to attend to see what happens, to see how that meeting house, this organization, puts on a spaghetti dinner for the residents of our community. And they've been doing this for about 2 years now, and they do it the third Sunday of every month except for July and August. So the $367.80 really just was transferred from my account to the town to pay the permits that they need to hold this spaghetti dinner at the meeting house. And it's an absolutely wonderful evening for our residents. People come there between about 4:45 and 7. They bring their families. The kids have a great time. They play together. They meet one another. I must compliment Regional Councillor John Taylor. He attends. Our former Mayor Tom Taylor attends. We both make donations to that organization, and it's by donation only when you go through the door. They suggest $1, but many of us have been generous enough so they can continue with this fantastic Sunday dinner where our residents get together for a great meal. And it is a spaghetti dinner, and you can have vegetarian, you can have, how do you pronounce the word, Joe? Bolognese with meat? Now, give me the real Italian, Joe.
What's the matter for you, vegetarian spaghetti? Come on, David.
So how do you pronounce the meat one, Joe?
Let's go, Mr. Mayor. This is just Bolognese.
Bolognese. Great. I knew I could come there. So I just wanted to clarify that the $367.80 was not for spaghetti dinner. It was strictly for the permits to allow this fantastic organization called the Meeting House to hold a spaghetti dinner for the residents of Newmarket. So
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, for allowing me to.
Great community gathering. Okay. Now, we do have a provision for a closed session. The only matter that would need to be discussed would be if there's any need for us to discuss the Human Resources Confidential Memorandum Report number 2016-14. In the absence of that, I would ask for a motion that we would adopt that the CAO Human Resources Closed Session Report number 2016-4, dated March 23rd, 2016, be received, and that staff proceed as per the recommendations set out in that report. So if members of council are comfortable with that recommendation, I would ask for that motion. Okay. Councillor Kerwin and Regional Councillor Taylor. On accepting this motion, first of all, let's have that vote then. All those in favor? Okay. And I would only ask that members of council that we allow for our CAO to contact the appropriate individuals and make sure that the appropriate arrangements are made and negotiations are finalized. And then following that, an announcement be made through the CAO's office. So until then, the matter needs to continue as a private matter. Okay? Thank you. So that motion was carried. Confirmatory bylaw. Councillor Sponga, Councillor Bazance. All those in favor? That is carried. Motion to adjourn. Regional Councillor. Councillor Twinney. All those in favor? Thank you. Again, I want to compliment members of council on the hard work that we did at the committee, so that makes these meetings far more functional and effective.